Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio
What's going on, people?
and OG Pachinko.
Oh, yo.
Hey,
That's it. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So yeah, man, you come handed off to me by somebody that's more OG than than OG is, and I
Absolutely.
met I met Gargamel through man through an unlikely character. You know what I'm saying? It had
What's
to be
up?
fate. It had to be fate. It's somebody I never really dealt with him for real. I knew him like years ago, this particular guy. And he was kind of the middleman for some things that me and Gargamel and myself were doing. And then I think it just got over the middle guy's head. And so he's like, okay, man, I'm gonna just let you guys do your thing. And then
Awesome.
shoot, man, we've been working together shit, maybe 8 years, 6 years, 6 years, 8 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Definitely, enough time to wear the tread off the tire a little bit, but always a good situation. And it amazes me, like, when Gargamel tells me about his history and like where he grew up and Watts and all that kind of stuff, it amazes me how, okay, you got this kid from Watts, but he has this hell of a hip hop repertoire with his records. He has this hell of a house music repertoire. And like on the house music side, that's probably been one of the more impressive things to me, because it's like he really knows the movers and shakers.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of which, yeah, and I was just hanging out with him this past weekend, and we went to go see Todd Terry, and he spoke with him, you know what I'm saying? And it was just like, got him backstage as soon as he saw him. So like, yeah, no, it was he's part of the house issues parties, and they have amazing lineups. And I've been to a few of them, and incredible turnouts, and yeah, he's really deep into the community of just DJs in general when it comes to house, dance music, or hip hop, for sure.
Yeah, I had to pull his coattail. I was like, man, you did not tell me Saturday was gonna be what it was. You know what I'm saying? Because I chilled on Saturday. Like I really didn't do anything on Saturday. But if I would have known that was cracking, I probably would have peeled out into.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no,
so,
shout out to the day party crew. Yeah, day party at Los Angeles. They threw that. That was an amazing event. But yeah, I'm speaking of Gargamel. Like I've known him for pretty much the same, like about 7-8 years. He's one of the first people I met out here in Los Angeles when I first moved out here. So
I'll tell you a funny story about Gargamel real quick. So when we first kind of started getting cool, I didn't know him well, but we're kind of getting to know each other. So he came by my warehouse, and we were talking about some stuff. We were gonna try to bust some moves together. There's some things that I do. So I have a printing company and some other stuff that I got going on. So he was like connecting the dots and getting some stuff going. So he came by the warehouse, and we talked for a while. But like it was probably maybe like the third or fourth time I'd seen him. So like there was no knowing us or nothing like that or whatever. So he leaves, and then like 30 minutes later, I go to get something to eat. So I'm driving to get something to eat, and I see him on the curb, and the police were there.
Oh, no.
I was like, damn, what kind of shit is Gargamel into? You know what I'm saying? like what he got going on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I went and got, like, I wasn't gonna try to call him because he was preoccupied. So I went and got something to eat, and then about 15 minutes later, I got back to my office, and I called him just to see, and he was like, nah, man, they were just jacking me up and whatever. Because they like the where my office is patrolled by the like three. They don't have, Santa Fe Springs doesn't have its own police situation. So it's like the sheriff, it's like the Norwalk police, in this like the Whittier or whatever. So they got all these different things going up and forth, just all around or whatever. So anyway, they were just giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
And then, I had called him, and I was like, damn. And then it was a trip because I found out, like, not saying Gargamel's a square, but he's like the coolest dude in the world. Like he ain't about no bullshit. He ain't twisted up and nothing crazy. But see, I didn't know. So it was just kind of like, oh man,
Yeah.
you know, I hope it work out for him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he's a great guy. Solid, definitely solid cat. And just, you know, he's introduced me to so many people out here and opened so many doors for sure.
Oh
And,
yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that definitely brought us closer. That situation. And then I was like, damn. It's because he always talks about how like shit. Well, I'm not gonna get into all that, but I'll just say he'll talk about the integrity of people, and he's like, you know, man, you know, it's
Big
not too
time.
many, he'll say it's not too many people like us. He's like, dude, it's not too many people like us that just like stay true to it, keep their word, woo woo. And the crazy thing is just there's just not too many people like that, man. It's like I talk to my business partner all the time, and the conversation that I have with him is kind of like, is it that times have gotten that hard, people have gotten that lazy, or people just don't care and they'll just say or do anything to get where they're trying to go? Because it just seems like people don't, like there is no honor in a word. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you give your word or you say that something is supposed to be one way, and it's like, it just seems like people always try to work their way into slicing some of the phony baloney off in it. And like I'll go ahead.
I think it's definitely it's his upbringing in Los Angeles. You know, I think that has to do with a big part of it. You know, just being Los Angeles being such a hub for entertainment and so much transplants, you know, coming in from out of town, such as myself. And like some people are, you know, looking out for the community or the culture of the people that are there, you know. And so like he's got to definitely, you know, he's been very very aware of like separating, you know, the real from the fake, you know what I'm saying? And he's definitely somebody that you know, he's just not all about just meeting everybody. He's definitely he'll vet you for sure for like before you know he gets close with you. Yeah.
I could say every ball he's thrown to me has been it's probably superseded what my expectation has been. You know what I mean? Like consistently, you know. I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn. He's like, yeah, man. So, man, with that being said, man, we've given Gargamel his flowers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, he's great. He's shout out to Overgold and Gargamel. Like it's I was introduced to him by Funk Lab, like which are like my older brothers, you know, in this, and they showed me the way as a youth in San Jose, where I'm from, and like so they were close, and they used to DJ a lot together in the '90s, and it's just like kind of meeting kinfolk, you know, from different areas that are, you know, different relatives kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? We've all been doing the same thing all our lives, you know, and so yeah, it was my older mentors that you know, as soon as I moved to Los Angeles, they were like, you know, hit up Gargamel, and you know, he's definitely a good person to meet, and it's been, you know, he's been great to work with, done parties with him. Yeah, one of my first time performing as Pachinco was on his show on streaming on Overgold. So yeah, very thankful.
Yeah, and I'll say that one last thing about Gargamel before we hop into the interview.
Yes.
The weekend before everything shut down, Gargamel invited me out to this little situation. It was a day situation on a Sunday. And I'll say, man, that was like the most fun I've had in a very long time. Like a very long time. And then the world changed. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. The world changed. Everything, yeah, absolutely. The world changed.
Yeah. So you're from San Jose. Coming up in San Jose.
Yes.
When was the first time you heard hip hop, and what was the song?
I would say the first time I went, I mean, my older brother was into hip hop. He's like 7 years older than me, so he's, you know, he was really into it. And I would have like Beat Street laying around, you know, like VHS copies and stuff like that, and like recordings from, you know, Soul Train performances from like Run DMC and Houdini and stuff like that. That would be mixed up with like Snoopy and uh, cartoons from Saturday morning cartoons and stuff on, you know, when everyone just recording stuff off TV, you know. And so I religiously watched Beat Street. So I would say that was like the first thing that captured me for sure as a kid. Yeah.
Beat Street.
Yeah, I have that record, still have the VHS. That I don't have the real VHS, it's definitely recorded off TV, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But yeah, no, that was, I would say, the first thing that really woke me up to it.
That brings us to the next question. What's your favorite medium to consume music?
Well, I would definitely say that my favorite medium is records. I got the turntable right there. This is my pops Moran's. I got, you know, I've been DJing since I was 12, and around that, you know, at that time we were like, it was all vinyl, and so like we're on striving to get techniques. So I got my techniques downstairs there. It's definitely my favorite way to digest music, favorite way to experience it. Just the act of putting the needles on, diving into like digging into like getting records and stuff and going through vinyl. It's to me like an infinite source of inspiration, that it's like a whole nother world. And it's like the seed of what I do, you know, starting off as DJ, then going into production. So as long as I stay true to that, it's like, you know, it's always going to give to me what it needs to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to add on to Jeremy's question real quick, what would be your contemporary medium of
my contemporary medium? Yeah, you know, like everybody else, I'm streaming. You know, like I love, you know, I listen to Spotify, YouTube, Mixcrate, I mean Mixcloud. Sorry, Mixcrate is an old site, but Mixcloud. And yeah, you know, digital platforms for sure when it's easy.
SoundCloud at all, or that's dated?
SoundCloud, not as much anymore. I used to a lot. You know, I used to definitely check SoundCloud and Bandcamp more, but lately I've kind of been looking for inspiration, like seeds of inspiration, like samples and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to be influenced too much by what's out there. So yeah, I've been kind of like looking towards the past and like kind of going to like Mixcloud and like YouTube for old mixes from old like DJs like, you know, like Larry Levan, Ron Hardy, to like Chicago house DJs and ghetto house DJs and French house. Just listen to old mixes. I'm trying to cap it at like 1999. Yeah, just
why 1999?
You know, like but I just doing my research before, you know, trying to dive into the roots of dance music more right now. And yeah, so I'd say those platforms have a lot of great resources for old school mixes that, you know, old tape mixes that, you know, rare, you can't find anymore. And so like old Dr. Dre 4-track mixtapes and stuff from the Rhodium and stuff like that. And so to K-Day mixes and KML mixes and so I listen to a lot of old school mixes on that, you know, because there's a lot of
that's old school.
Yeah, Cameron Paul, yeah.
Nah, that's dope. So you've mentioned a lot. I'm looking behind you. I see MF Doom. I see your new record wax cover in the back also. So
yeah, we got that.
Yeah, so you put it up in front. So with that being said, this may be a hard one, but if you had to pick, what would you say your favorite genre of music is?
Hip hop is like where it starts the seed, you know, for me. And really hip hop is it's taking so much from every different place, you know. I remember being as a kid thinking like this is everything good from everywhere and just put together, you know, like, so there's so much inspiration. It's a root seed that branched out into jazz, disco, rock, reggae, dancehall, R&B, you know, like, you know, so much I've learned from hip hop. So I would say that's, you know, my core genre of music. But yeah, I'm on dance music right now is like what I like to produce. Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but I've seen a couple different documentaries on it. But if you want to hear kind of a inspirational story, do your research on Daft Punk and how they blew up at like a rave out here. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And then I think that it was somebody had a cassette tape maybe of one of their performances, and they played it on a college radio station, and people kind of went crazy or just whatever. But research Daft Punk down to how they grew up, and you're gonna
Daft Punk is definitely a huge inspiration. I got the poster, you know what I'm saying? I mean, well,
yeah, you're gonna say like, dang, it's more than, because I'm a huge Daft Punk fan. When I first started going to Europe a whole lot, Amsterdam was kind of like the hub, and I'm not sure if they had MTV there or if like it was one of the free cable channels you could get in the hotels, because I wasn't staying in no dope hotels. It was, you know, they were very Amsterdam.
I am right now.
Yeah, very Amsterdam-esque hotels. But one more time, that video, they just kept playing it over and over and over again, just like over and over. And I became a fan of the music. And it was interesting because like in that time period, I saw two artists really get ahead of the curve when it came to dance music, which were Beyonce and Usher. They were some of the first artists to do dance music remixes in Europe. And the funny thing about it, they weren't even worried about playing the remixes in the States. This was something that they did in order to get
traction out there.
Yeah, the European countries to gravitate towards these American artists. And it's so crazy how it's just like twisted around to where like dance music is like, it went from being something that you do as a remix in order to gain traction in a separate market to where like, man, it's kind of pulled out ahead of the pack.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely has its ups and downs, but yeah, no, I mean, its origins, you know, are kind of like that. Is it, you know, developed in the States in like Detroit, Chicago, and New York, and got really big in like UK and stuff like that. And so like it's and dance music is definitely like, you know, they put it's more globally accepted as a staple than I would say in the States.
I can't remember who I had the conversation with, but it was someone who was if they weren't my elder, they were more traveled than I was, and because for a period of time I did a whole lot of traveling, and I remember them telling me that pop culture is America's #1 export. Like they'll people won't look at it like that, but like
yeah, of course,
we could literally can, and somebody probably has. We could literally can some bullshit and throw a dope label on it and a catchy name, and it'll be a thing. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
No, it still has its huge impact over, you know, other styles and genres around the world. But yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say even countries that America hasn't been that nice to, they're gonna still drink a Coke. They're still gonna drink a Pepsi. They're gonna smoke some squares. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Watch the movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
listen to the music. Yeah, no, it's yeah. I mean, music is universal. It's that universal language that you don't have to speak the language. Look, and it translates. So, yeah, no, from like you're saying, from like Daft Punk, there were huge inspiration for me in the past, and they still are. Them and I would say DJ Shadow. Growing up as a kid, and so yeah, no, there and so what I'm doing with Pachinko is definitely going back into my roots and more of what inspired me as a youth, and giving back to that, knowing what I know now, having the skills like to use the equipment that I always wanted to learn to use as a kid. And instead of trying to do something that's, I would say, necessarily popular right now, just trying to do something that more caters to what I was inspired by as a kid. So yeah, and I would definitely say the two main factors was DJ Shadow and Daft Punk. Yeah. So
what was your favorite hip hop movie?
Yeah, definitely Beat Street.
Yeah, you already said it.
Yeah, I will say my top three movies are Beat Street, Boulevard Nights, and The Warriors.
Warriors. Yeah. Wow, we don't hear that one out. That's funny.
Yeah. And then a ton of graffiti movies like Malicious Mischief, Tales of Rails, While You Were Sleeping. Like I have a ton of VHS. It's like skate movies that I grew up to.
Hey.
Yeah.
Such a different era, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm sitting here and I'm just like, and it's so funny because it's like you're saying things that I kind of was I was around when some of them came out and whatnot, but they didn't impact me the same way. And then to hear you speak passionately about them is kind of like, damn, that was, I guess some cool stuff was going on with.
Yeah, and then the two other ones that might be known as Wild Style and Star Wars.
Style. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, Wild Style and Star Wars. I had the Wild Style VHS, caught that like when I was in high school. And the Star Wars for the graffiti stuff. No, it was like pre-internet era, so yeah, everything was on VHS, and yeah, luckily I had older folks that were able to pass on this information to me and the videos and stuff. So yeah, I would say top 5 would be those. Yeah,
I actually watched a fair amount of those, but man, I literally have to give a shout out to Blockbuster, Movie Gallery, Hollywood Video, Video Village. But man, if it wasn't for those rental, you know what I mean? Like that's what make you go, I seen everything. I need to see this other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like my palette was way bigger back then.
And then also the record stores, they would have the real crazy ones that the video stores wouldn't have, like the graffiti videos, or like Star Wars or Wild Style would be at like Tower Records or like Rasputin, Amoeba type thing.
What's that record store? I feel bad. It's a record store. I think it's still there. That was everybody's records in Pleasant Ridge, Cincinnati, Ohio. I owe them an apology because they're one of the only record stores still around. I used to steal from them.
Yeah, shout out. I gotta shout out like Night Sounds in San Jose. DJ Carlos Diaz. This record's definitely dedicated to him, and a couple others for sure. But he passed away during the production of it, and he's somebody in San Jose, where I'm from, like that had these really amazing record sales around Christmas that a lot of people would come from all around. And what he would do is he would sell records by the pound, and they were really affordable. So I would definitely come out with I would try to come out with the most, and it would be usually like 4 to 6 crates of records, and it would be enough records for the whole year to dig through. But on my record itself, I had put on the cover, I put a couple of the record stores that I grew up to, and they're like from Tower Records to Amoeba to more cutty ones like On the Corner Records, where I had the record release side, Needle to the Groove, which is still around in San Jose, Al's Record Barn, which isn't there, and Streetlight Records in San Jose, which in the Bay Area is a really big record store, still around. So
yeah, rich culture up there though. That's the reason why.
Yeah, and out here as well. Yeah, so I'm very thankful to call Los Angeles and the Bay Area home. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you how and where the Bay turned me out. Berkeley.
That's where my family's from. Yeah.
Berkeley.
One of the first places I headlined at.
Berkeley. Yeah.
Seeing the Nature Girls at the time. The Nature Girls, and then the guys that were up there were a crazy hybrid of revolutionary hippie gangbanger.
Yeah, that's kind of just the Bay Area in general.
Vegan revolutionary hippie gangbanger.
Militant hippies. Yeah.
I never seen anything like it. I never seen anything like it in my life. And there's so much pride. And even, Oakland's one of my favorite places. Oakland is unique to me because you can have some music play. And if it's, let's say, for instance, a Bay Area anthem, once again, you have the hippies, the gangbangers, the revolutionaries, the vegans, whatever, and everybody will just go. And I'm just like,
shout out to Oakland. My sister lives out there. She's been out there for a while now. I remember going to see. I remember like my first experience with hyphy music, and it wasn't hyphy music. They weren't playing hyphy music. It was prior to hyphy music. It was like I would say 2002 or 3. It was an E40 concert at Lake Merritt.
I think Brown and them were up there. My boys was up there, and they said, "Oh man, it got crazy."
It was checked out this mix. This lineup is amazing. It was E40, Blacklicious, rest in peace, and also Zion I, rest in peace as well. Yeah, and Zumbi, and that was just an incredible lineup, just how diverse it was with the hip hop. And I remember the DJ playing Mobb Deep, Don't Get It Twisted. And I saw the kids doing like going dumb on it, you know what I'm saying? And that's not a Bay Area song, but it has that slap to it, you know what I'm saying? With, the Blinding Me with Science sample. Yeah. So they were going down on that, and I just saw them, doing a different dance, and just seeing that it was like something's popping up over here, and then the music started gravitating towards the dance, and just the party atmosphere, it's very light, shout out to the folks in Vallejo, you know what I'm saying, the MCs that came out from there, like Mac Dre, of course, that bring a very like party environment to like the hood, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't so mean mugs and aggressive, like it was definitely more lighthearted and fun, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people popping shit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was so that definitely was a huge contribution to the music that I make, and just music that I play in general, being from the Bay Area and still being out here doing, I also still do like a lot of bars and clubs and stuff like that. And so I love playing Bay Area, either classics or slaps and, to new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, no, dope. If, there's some content that I've seen on Instagram as well as YouTube, and it's, and they gotta be in the Bay. Like it's almost like if you look at a short mammal and it's a cat, you know what I'm saying? So they got these dudes, and they're in a station wagon. And then both of them get out and they start dancing around the station wagon. And I mean, they go hard. And I'm like, man, if a clip of content said Bay Area, that was it.
Oh yeah, no, the sideshows have been going around since the 90s. You know,
man,
so
I saw a clip of content where this guy was at a sideshow and he had like might have been like an old Toyota Corolla or something. It might have been a Datsun. It was even before a car, you know, Datsuns before Toyota and Nissan. And he did something where he had tied something to the steering wheel, and he probably put something on the gas, and he started dancing. And while his car was spinning around, he was jumping on top of it. He came in the driver's door, walked out the passenger door.
Oh, yeah, snap.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. People definitely get outlandish with the styles. Yeah. You know. So yeah, definitely Bay Area culture. And grew up out there in primarily San Jose. Like that's where my family's from as well. There's from sideshows to lowriders, you know, like, and there's a lot of car communities out there, and also like the Harleys and the bikers, you know. And like I would say, I definitely grew up more with the lowrider community. Like that's something I was definitely really tied into as a kid. Like, you know, that's how I learned electronics, was like making models with hydraulics and doing the switchboards and stuff like that. That's how I learned like flow of electronic, like my like wiring and all that stuff as a little kid. And I even like cracked open like some Fisher Price toy to make my first mixer, and like spliced the wires into like some turntable. That's one of the first mixers I had until I went to the flea market and grabbed a cheap one. But it's lowriders is big in San Jose, and it's starting to like really come back again. So shout out to all the folks out there bringing that back.
Nah, dope. Okay, so you're in junior high school, middle school.
Yes.
What is the soundtrack going on at that time?
Well, yeah, no, I would say around that time, I was going to the teen center. We used to go to this spot called the Camden Teen Center, and they throw a lot of b-boy events. Also, shout out to Hank Lopez Community Center. They threw a lot of both of these places threw a lot of well-known breakdancing competitions back in the day that were very epic, well-known. So at that time, I was listening to more like West Coast hip hop. I would say like Quantum, Blacklicious, DJ Shadow, Latyrix, to Project Blowed with AC Alone, Freestyle Fellowship, Michael Nye, Peace, Self Jupiter, and CVE, and Bus Driver, and just a lot of hip hop, Jurassic 5, to Shapeshifters and stuff like that. And a lot of hip hop, you know, because like at that time, you know, I'm a DJ, like, but I'm not doing parties. It's all just like, you know, for b-boys, MC ciphers, and turntablist stuff. And so we're, you know, buying crates of records, and, you know, not trying to buy something that's going to get played out in like a few months. So I'm staying away from pop music. And so it was definitely more underground music. And then I turned 21 and everything changed. Yeah.
Nah, I don't.
So we got a chat going. Some people chime in and, you know, say something here and there. One of the questions someone asked was, what's your top 3 favorite house songs you got on repeat?
I would say like some of my top 3, I would say Music Sounds Better With You by Stardust is never going to be bad. I mean, it's always going to be I'm always gonna love that. I've loved it ever since I heard it. It's magical and still gives me those feelings when I still listen to it. One of my favorites is the MK95 version of "Push the Feeling On" by Nightcrawlers, which is a really popular.
Oh, wow.
This is where that Hotel Motel, like that Pitbull song took it from. You know what I'm saying? So I really love that song. Like just the simple. It's Nightcrawlers "Push the Feeling On" is like one of like it's amazing house song. I feel like it has all the elements done perfectly in a very minimalistic way, but it's incredible when it comes to the drums, the groove, to the bass lines, the bass, the organ plucks, the strings, to the vocals, and then and then one of my favorite parts of it, the vocal chops, the vocal chops in it that people love to sing with, but don't know what it says. That, and I'm not even gonna try to reinterpret it, but the vocal chops on that were way ahead of its time, and so that will say number 2. Number 3, I would say go "Around the World" by Daft Punk. That was a huge like game-changing song for me, watching that video on the box and stuff in the 90s and watching, I would say those are my 3.
Another chat question is, how'd you come up with Beneficial?
Oh, actually, Beneficial is my DJ name, and Pachinco is is the artist name. Beneficial is my name's Ben, and then my homie Rayos Magos from San Jose, we were just drawing and we're just coming up with the names. And first I thought of benefit, and then we thought of beneficial, and played with the Ben word official. It's been, I've used that name for, I'll say since 2006, 7, or no, probably like 2005. Yeah.
It's been beneficial.
Yeah. People in the Bay Area definitely know me as DJ Beneficial. Yeah. Radio and stuff. Yeah.
And real quick, I want to get your opinion on the Rolling Stones magazine, one of the chair people, like the guy who started the magazine. Are you familiar with this? Basically, his name's Jan Winter. He was interviewing him, like he does magazines. Obviously, they're interviewing him, and he said he had an opinion on why he tends to avoid interviews with women and Black artists. He said because they're not articulate. But he said it in a lot more words than what I just said.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, one, if you knew about that, and what's your thoughts on, such a big article, such a big magazine publication like Rolling Stones? Because for me, Rolling Stone was always an achievement for any artist to get on there. So
it's like a Billboard thing, or Grammys or whatever,
But to know some people didn't have a shot. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that is, I mean, for one, it's wrong, and I didn't know about that. I haven't heard about that. And I mean, I know there's a lot of funky stuff like that goes on, but it's terrible because there's so much. Yeah, it's a terrible thing, and it holds back so much for the community, for the culture of music, and especially since so much of it comes from that source, African American women or men, just in general, it's Black music, everything that we're doing, and so for them to say something so blanketed as far as to generalize something like that, of course, is extremely ignorant and wrong. Yeah.
So he's been removed from the board because of his statements in the article. But my question to you is you feel like that's a proper punishment, or is that like another form of censorship, which, we're all supposedly are against? Like, should you be able to say how you feel, or do you feel like, you should be punished? Like, just your honest thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like freedom of speech is very extremely important. I think I feel like I'd rather know what people think than have them be PC and not transparent. You know what I'm saying? As far as but as far as being punished, like, I don't know exactly the right approach, but I feel like, if it not so much as punished, but people, if everybody has a choice to listen or to support somebody, and you have to do your diligence to know who you're supporting and what you're giving light to. So I feel like, it shouldn't be like some kind of like automatic thing, but it everybody has their opinion and choice to support that opinion. So if people don't agree and I don't agree with that, I don't necessarily, I wouldn't, and me generally in person, like my personal opinion is like, I don't support or put like things, companies like that or corporations like that on the pedestal where that's their thoughts or my thoughts or anything like that. As far as major charts or industry, corporations that are gatekeepers and stuff like that. I'm not really paying attention to them as far as enough to. What I'm trying to say is I don't really pay attention to Rolling Stone or anyway. So, or Billboard charts and stuff like that for what's good, what's relevant to me, and that's something that I've definitely made a choice since the pandemic. But
well, one of your fans here actually sent a picture of you DJing, and you have a White Lives Matter shirt with a MAGA hat on. Care to explain?
I definitely don't have that picture. I definitely know that doesn't exist. So
Gary, hilarious.
No, you thought about it. He was like,
I feel who had a really good
one of those
response to this. It was Wanda Sykes talking with I'm blanking on his name, Kevin Hart, on Kevin Hart's podcast, like Comedy Gold or something. They
okay, Comedy Gold.
She had a really good response. I don't want to, because she articulates it much better than I can, but I would point to that as a really good example, or a really good good outlook on it.
I have an Audible that's it's about a current event, and I want to hear both of you guys' thoughts on it. So you have this guy who was like one of the #1 writers for the Proud Boys, which those are the the Trumpers, blah blah blah,
It's not a Talib question, is it?
Nah.
Okay.
but homeboy that ended up getting, he got 22 years for kind of like organizing the insurrection, I guess, a little bit. He was I'm not gonna say he organized it because I don't know if he organized it, but I know that he was like the leader of the pack of those people involved in the insurrection. 22 years is what he got. Let's just say he only has to serve half of that. So let's just say 11 years. Do you feel that 11 years is too much time for somebody who, I guess, engaged in that kind of, behavior?
I mean, I definitely don't have like, I'm not, I don't know the facts enough to really say anything. But I definitely feel like for one, what happened was violent, like that wasn't like some demonstration of freedom of speech, so whatever happens,
Yeah. Somebody literally bent over and squatted and defecated on somebody's desk.
Everything needs to happen to to the fullest to make that example that's not acceptable at all, so like, nothing can be slid under the table and or hidden like that, for sure everything needs to happen.
Only thing that prevent people from doing whatever the heck they want to do is consequences. You know what I mean? And you talk about an insurrection. I mean, come on, man. They got mad at the riots, but like, come on, man, you attacking the Capitol, dog. Like,
I know a lot of people that are,
like, come on.
A lot of people.
I need you to think twice about this.
For a lot less crimes. Yeah,
man, throw the book at these fools, man. Let them go ahead and feel that. You know
exactly.
I mean, and get out on 3 years on good behavior, maybe. But I need you to hear them years. I need them years. I need you to get 30 years.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolute justice needs to happen on that end for sure, because it
can't
look at how they came down on Jesse for lying. He lied to the police. You should be able to lie to the police. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But they try to get us through years. Get out of here, man. Come on, man. They ruined empire. You know what I'm saying? Come on, dog. Yeah. The Chicago police was on his ass. They was on his ass in particular for lying to the police. But yet the insurrection people supposed to just let it go? Nah, man. Lock them up.
Dude, I bet you.
It needs to happen. Yeah.
Dude, I bet you 50 Cent is like, dang, what could have been a greater handoff than that for me to just take power, and just because at the time, power and empire were kind of like neck and neck going, back.
Well, he's super intelligent. He used power because power was on a paid. You had to buy stars to even, you know what I mean? So he used that as like free advertising. Man, him and Kanye, man, these are the people who you gonna get millions and millions of dollars, damn near $1 billion of advertisement with just the things they do. You know what I'm saying? You can't pay a firm that much money to get that level of press. These dudes are intelligent. But yeah, lock them fools up.
All right.
Give them 100 years.
I'm just asking. I would like to see the evidence and see exactly what Homeboy did, though, because that's the part. But I'm sure you can look, though. I'm sure you can look and figure it out. So on to greater topics. Elasticity.
Yes.
Break this down to us, man.
Elasticity. It's the new album. Yeah, no, it's my debut album. I put it on vinyl. I have the cassette tapes. I just did this to really show how much care and thought and that I'm putting into it, and energy, that it's not something that that isn't well thought of. Elasticity, the title comes from, like, the definition is the ability of an object or material to resume its normal shape after being compressed or stretched. And the second definition is the ability to change and adapt. So that's pretty much what Pachinko is. You know, it's me changing after being stretched and compressed with the industry and music and life in general. And so yeah, it's 10 tracks. Yeah, it's primarily disco house. And there's a couple of hip hop tracks and like more on the lo-fi hip hop style.
How do you want people to feel after listening to Elasticity?
Like joyful, you know, like happy and like it was a fun experience. You know what I'm saying? I wanted it to be like an album, you know, I didn't want it to be like some singles or something like that. I worked hard on trying to make it like a cohesive story kind of feel from beginning to end. And yeah, just feel emotions in some type of way, and whatever it is, it's up to them to interpret. Yeah.
I like that.
So what inspires your animation style?
Graffiti. Yeah, graffiti definitely. That's why I got the subway, and the graffiti's all over the subway, and all the subway graffiti. It's real artists from the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, like from the late 70s primarily. I try to keep the continuity where I got the samples from, and so those artists are like the artists that were listening to like Kool and the Gang and Tower of Power and stuff. They weren't listening to hip hop, you know. And so yeah, I would say definitely graffiti is like artists like Twist or Os Hemios from Brazil. Twist is from the Bay Area. Idiot also from San Jose. Yeah, a lot of, you know, that's where I got like, you know, the inspiration for like letters, drawing in general, you know, and funky styles.
What is your most iconic moment?
My most iconic moment, well, I'm still building that as Pachinko, but I would say as beneficial was producing this track called Whistle with John Hart and Too Short. And so like that got to number 35 on R&B charts. So that was like,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You talking about blow the whistle?
No, I didn't do blow the whistle. I did whistle by it was a John Hart track with Too Short on
Okay.
Yeah, he did the verse on it. And we sampled actually Jules Santana, the There It Go. And
oh
yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. Jules Santana actually got on the remix and
wow.
Yeah. So it was on World Star and all that stuff. It was on Empire. So shout out to John Hart and Clayton Wayne. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Dope. Still dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So that you know, definitely it was a great moment to see what happens to my music when it gets that type of, you know, like to see it being played at stadiums and radio stations and clubs and stuff like that. But the only thing with it was, you know, it didn't lead to what I was looking for as far as moving to the next project and whatnot. So I felt like it helped me, you know, to develop and dial in to what I really want to do, you know. And so no, that's been like one of the highlights for sure.
Nah, dope. So with that being said, we asked about your mediums for listening to music, contemporary, as you know, as well as you listening to vinyl.
Yes.
In this world that we live in right now, where everyone has a cell phone valued at $500 or more that does a million things, computers, you can do a million things on the computer and all that. What are your social media goals as far as like how you stay, doing what you do and utilizing social media?
I definitely I love social media for meeting people around the world, like meeting folks in different areas that I would never, ever find if it wasn't for like, say, some kind of streaming platform like Twitch, Bigo, TikTok, or even like, just like Instagram and whatnot. I've definitely found and met people around the world that are amazing supporters, of what I'm doing. And so I would say that's my goal, is to find my audience, find those real fans that are here for the journey, not just for a song or something like that, to see how this, progresses and what I put into it.
For a fan that attaches themselves to the older Beneficial or the older Pachinco, like, what would you say to them? Like, okay, because I have friends that have, hip hop artists and stuff like that, and I've been like more than 1 million times, well, not 1 million, but definitely 1,000 at least. People, they gravitate towards the earlier works, but then as an artist, you're evolving. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you get this fan, and they're like, "Oh man, the first Beneficial tape. Oh man, Pachinko 12 years ago, man, it just blew my mind." What's your conversation for them?
I mean, like, so the difference between Pachinko and Beneficial is catering to my audience. It's catering to like whoever's in front of me. I'm gonna play what you like, and what Pachinko is cultivating, curating, and it's curating what I like, and you're seeing what my personal taste is in me as an artist, and so it's more focused towards it's not necessarily made for fans. It's made for myself, but it's more genuine and authentic.
One is for the check, one is for you. And even if it's not for the check, it's for the people, and that's a dope duality though. That's a dope duality. You have one side of the coin that's for making people do whatever it is that they, they want to do. And then the other side of the coin is, well, I gave you that, but you're gonna get this.
Well, it's in the name. It's beneficial.
It is. And and it's so with the Pachinko thing, it's a reinvention. It was a time to recalibrate, refocus, and boil down into what I want to leave as a legacy for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want these songs are the songs that represent me, and that's what I'm trying to give back to, and they represent where I came from, as far as the styles, the music, the techniques, and why I'm doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
What would your biopic be called?
That's a good question. All right, I would say real quick, beneficial for everybody.
What's the first part?
Beneficial for everybody.
Oh, beneficial for everybody. Okay.
Yeah. So let's do something like that.
I would have thought it would have been walking out of the club at 7 o'clock in the morning on 10. You know,
Yeah.
still on 10. Where's the after party at? Walking out the club at 7 a.m. in the morning. Where's the after party?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah. So who played you?
Hmm. I'm not too familiar with like too many actors, like as far as who I would think would play me. Mm, I like the dude Glenn from Walking Dead. He reminds me of my
Yeah,
cousin.
yeah, he's in Beef too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, he killed it in that.
He killing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good choice.
yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that might be the Oscar he need.
He reminds me of family too. He reminds me of my cousin Colin. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
No, dope. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna hit you with the last one. You know what I'm saying? This has been a good one. This has been definitely been a
Thank
good
you
one.
so much. This has been I'm not expecting this. This has been great.
Nah, you're gonna be back. We gonna follow the career. So coming out of COVID a couple of years, you know, we went from pretty much being able to move free to being, you know, very confined. And now there's like a festival going on every weekend, you know,
Right.
and they've turned concerts that have 2 or 3 artists in the festivals. Festival is like a vehicle is something that has 2 or more wheels, I guess. It's like gatherings of more than 2 groups are festivals now. Like everything is just all over the place, just, you
4
know,
or 5 acts or something.
And that's just where we're at.
This is exactly where we're at.
With COVID going on and people not really being able to get together and socialize with each other, people becoming a lot more active through means of social media. You know, us right now, Zoom. You know, Zoom blew up during COVID, and that provided Jeremy and myself with, you know, and there's, you know, pluses and minuses, but we don't have to rush the Eagle Rock and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie.
studios.
I miss those days though.
Yeah,
podcasts. A lot of radios is pre-recorded mixes as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with all that, where do you see social progression going, like in the next 2 years?
Well, in the next social progression in general, I think from the pandemic, what I hope to see is what I've always hoped to see is like a renaissance, you know. Kind of like, I'm not don't quote me on this, but I think like, you know, like the Renaissance was around the time of the like Black Plague and stuff. And so like that, I feel like that time that we've gotten to be in like time to ourselves gave a lot of people a chance to reevaluate what they want to do and the direction. And so what I'm hoping is, you know, what I've seen is like more people trying to, you know, follow their own lead instead of necessarily what's, you know, what's the masses doing. A lot more people experimenting with like psychedelics and stuff, you know. And so like just a shakeup from the norm when it comes to like art and culture and stuff like that. And not so people more becoming individuals, you know. And that's what I'm hoping to see, you know, and that's why I see the opportunity that happened from that, you know, from everybody getting that break from being on the wheel, you know.
Yeah, man, it was the Thanos snap, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I just feel like, you know, just a whole new era, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to what can be possible. And yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, and for more people to gravitate towards different things than just that are more personal to them than just what's more popular. Yeah.
Useless content, man. Useless content. You know,
Yeah.
it's something. I'm gonna share this real quick, and then we're gonna close it out. But you know, I always get funny when I think of fast food and like making that a choice, because first of all, you know, people are making like, I want to say like $19 an hour working at fast food places. So if you're making $19 an hour working at a fast food place, and there's like, you know, a staff of about like 15 employees minimal at the ones that are cracking, you got to ask yourself, how can they sell something for $2, $3 for like,
oh yeah,
like whatever. And then I was watching how like even the basic food at fast food restaurants just have a whole bunch of chemicals in them. And not saying that all the chemicals are bad, but I'm saying chemicals in the context of the food being synthetic. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, synthetic. And that's just where we at. You know what I'm saying? We're just at a place where, you know, people.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Tina.
Yeah, no, I would definitely add on to that. Like that reminds me of, like, you know, why I'm kind of looking at DJs and producers from 1977, 76, or 75 to 99 is because I'm not necessarily listening to what's coming out right now, is because I understand that there's a diminishment when there's copies of copies of copies of copies, and they don't know like why they're doing a certain thing anymore, because they've just been doing it, copying the person before them. I would say like a weird analogy or story I have for that is like growing up in my generation, like we put like, there was friends of mine that would put ski at the end of the name, like for graffiti and stuff like that. And we didn't know that ski was for snow and like cocaine, you know what I'm saying? And so we just knew that it sounded cool, you know what I'm saying? And we would put ski on the back of names. So the original guys knew that it was about cocaine, you know, and like crack cocaine, whatever, you know, doing that. And so like that's what I mean by like copies of copies. And so like I'm trying to
break the cycle.
Yeah, trying to go to more organic stuff, you know what I'm saying, do more stuff on analog gear instead of like computer stuff, emulated, you know, VSTs and whatnot. And that goes for like the food, you know what I'm saying? It's a copy of, it's not chicken or you know what I'm saying, or it's not vegetables anymore. It's just copies of copies. It's synthetic, you know what I'm saying? And so trying to, yeah, go towards anything where I can get more substance, of course. Yeah.
Just adding to this level of the conversation, I just wanted to fact check myself, but there's a lot of foods that have actual sawdust in it, which is wood pulp. It's a filler, but it's used for meat and ice cream and all types of food, you know, and it's no nutritional value. It just passes right through you. I mean, it's not killing you, but at the same time, that's not what you're paying for.
Yeah.
It's just food filler. Cheeses, there's a bunch of food that is just, they're selling you sawdust.
Yeah. I've actually, I love, me personally, I love growing my own vegetables. I try to do my best, but I like right now, I know how to like grow my own leafy greens and salad stuff, you know, kale, spinach, and arugula and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's a good lesson, a good thing to learn, you know, for sure. And it makes you appreciate the food much more. Yeah. So yeah, I know it's important that we, you know, very conscious of what we eat, what we watch, read, listen to. You know, it's all food. We're all digesting it some way.
So where can people find you in the Matrix?
You can find me on I would say the easiest way online is the Pachinko store, the Pachinko.store. That's my website. It has everything there. You can find me on Instagram at Pachinko _. You can find me on Spotify at Pachinko, and it's PACHINCO. Yeah, I would say that's the Pachinko.store. You can find me that and all the tapes, cassettes, merchandise, links. So yeah.
Dope. And so what's up with you, Jeremy? What you got coming up?
Oh man, I really just want to relax, but I'm going to be in Atlanta this week, Boston next week, and well, yeah, Boston. I'll be there September 29th through October 1st. And let me see another official date. I'll be in Houston. Let's see, November 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah, I have dates in between, but that's the ones you need to look out for if you listen. Yeah, but yeah, I do stand up comedy. I don't know if I ran that down to you, whatever. But since you live in LA, you know you're free to come as much as you want, especially to the Comedy Store. It's probably where I perform the most. So
beautiful. Yeah, I love stand-up comics and have a ton of respect for the art form.
Yeah, it's overrated. But yeah, because it's overrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, at Jeremy Comedy or any updates, all that stuff. I'm gonna get my socials together very, very soon. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, no, man. With that being said, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio.
Real quick. I just want to shout out the chat. I'm sorry because people be feeding us. You know what I'm saying? I just want to give a shout out to Lethal Nina, Carlos M, Diana, Agaju.
Shout out to D. Shout out to Sino, Carlos.
Okay, cool. That's your people. Okay, cool. Just make sure. I just want to give them love because they was feeding this the whole time. So I appreciate it.
I love them. Yeah, thank you so much.
All good. So no, man, that's been another episode of Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. Peace.